So the Killing Floor 3 beta is almost up, and I wanted to address some people's criticism and also talk about my experience, giving you all of my honest thoughts and opinions on what the beta had to offer. And I think it's important to remember that this is a beta, not a full game release. We were limited in our experience, and I think it should be judged not as a full or final product, but from a game tester perspective. We only had 3 maps, 1 5-round survival game mode, and 3 difficulty options. Even before fully logging into the game, a starting screen clearly says this is a pre-release look at the game. You may experience issues with the game and platform features not working, which might include crashes. Now, I've put about 15 hours into the beta thus far, and I never once experienced a single crash or any other game-breaking bugs that made me have to restart. I'm on PS5, so maybe it was just optimized more so for consoles versus PC. I don't know, it definitely could be, or maybe I was just lucky. I did, however, have a few stutters at certain points, but other than that, it was a really solid and smooth experience. And while we're on the topic of smooth, the gameplay of Killing Floor 3 is just incredibly smooth, and the movement is pretty fantastic, especially when you compare it to its predecessor, Killing Floor 2. I hopped into a couple matches of Killing Floor 2 before making this video, and damn are there some night and day differences between the two games. I think the biggest of note is the graphic upgrades, the simplicity, the enemy AI, the replayability, and the overall movement system. And this is how fast you can run in Killing Floor 2.
You were untouchable out there.
And this is how fast you can move in Killing Floor 3. I think the movement in Killing Floor 3 is leagues better than Killing Floor 2 because you have the ability to run faster, mantle, and even slide. I do think the running could be slightly faster, but it definitely feels like a 100% increase compared to Killing Floor 2 and its janky movement. I'm not in any way trying to shit on KF2, but simply comparing the two games to fully showcase some of the differences I noticed. I saw one video criticizing the movement in Killing Floor 3, and I just don't think people remember how slow and janky it was in Killing Floor 2. It's pretty bad. I think a good comparison would be like Black Ops 6 quality versus World at War movement. You're so much faster and can do a lot more to stay alive when being pursued by Scrakes and Flesh Pounds. Like I said, it's a night and day difference between the two games. Before we move on, I think another plus of KF3 is the overall control scheme. It's circle to crouch instead of clicking in L3, and it's circle to slide, and you weren't even able to slide in Killing Floor 2. You also hit square to access the trader now instead of circle. Another criticism I saw was Zed time. This person said it was practically useless, and I don't understand how or why. One of the definitive things about Killing Floor is the Zed time. The badass slow-mo that turns you into Quicksilver. It's like trashing the slow-mo headshots in Sniper Elite. It's freaking sick. What are you talking about, bro? I want y'all to listen to my cousin's reaction to Zed time in Killing Floor 3.
This is nuts.
I think Zed time is optimized a lot better in Killing Floor 3 than it was in 2. The time can actually be extended and last longer the more Zeds you kill whilst in it. And speaking of getting kills, the dedicated melee is really good and I think better in Killing Floor 3. As my cousin would say, it doesn't feel like you're trying to chop a tree down with toothpicks. But I think the Ninja Specialist does need to be buffed because the melee weapons just don't do as much damage as I think they should. And that leads us into our next complaint and how Killing Floor 3 has specialists now instead of being able to choose whichever character and class you wanted. At this point, Killing Floor 2 does have the better customization options, but with the advanced enemy AI in Killing Floor 3, I think having a rechargeable special ability is insanely helpful. People will complain about practically everything, including skins in Call of Duty, and then complain when they don't have skins. I think some people will just complain to complain. But that also begs the question, did you seriously play Killing Floor to customize a character? Or did you play it to kill Zeds? Killing Floor 3 does have the option to customize your character class appearance, but it's not that in-depth at this point because nobody has any skins aside from being able to unlock a couple things from the in-game pass. These passes work similar to the war bonds on Helldivers 2. They won't disappear, you can access them whenever, but they'll be cosmetic items only. And I'm pretty sure they'll also have special events like Killing Floor 2 did, where you'll be able to get special gold dosh sets for doing weekly challenges or something of the like. Now back to the specialists. I think the specialists come in handy more so when you're on higher difficulties. One particular upgrade for the Firebug, for example, lets you regain health when activated, and you do a huge AoE fire smash on the ground, incinerating zeds all around. When running out of stims and being chased by a boss that you can't get away from, and you're losing health like crazy, yeah, this ability is nice. I saw someone comparing it to Battlefield 2042 specialists, but it's actually more like COD Zombies field upgrades. You don't have to even use them, but they're there if you need it. Another complaint I saw was the lack of weapons, and I think at this point people were just too lazy and not remembering that this is a beta, not the final product. I mean, it's not like it was always on your screen or anything. So there was 4 weapons in each of the 6 specialist classes, but 5 if you include the pistols. That is 30 weapons total. And like Killing Floor 2, you don't even have to choose from your class-specific weapons. You can branch out and get other ones. You don't have to worry about a weight limit in Killing Floor 3 either, but you are limited to just 3 weapons. There's no upgrading weapons like in Killing Floor 2 at the trader, but instead you'll unlock attachments and use crafting materials earned from matches to customize your weapons and upgrade your attachments the way you want to. I think this increases the replayability as you have something to keep working towards. All in all, I think Killing Floor 3 is the most fun I've ever had playing a beta, and I'm incredibly grateful for being able to play it early. I honestly have no complaints aside from increasing the damage on the ninja melee class and maybe ramping up the amount of gore. I don't think it was as bloody as I would have liked, but again, this is the beta, not the full release. There will be changes because we were playing on an early build of the game. Bugs will be fixed, things will be added, and I'm super excited to see where the game goes from here. Also, Tripwire, if you're listening, a Doom event would be insanely cool. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the beta and the criticism and complaints I've seen thus far. If you have any questions or want to voice an opinion, let me know in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe for more Zed Slaying content. I'm Lazarus Rising, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.